Those of you who have been watching 434 videos since the beginning know that synchronicity is what started this channel, and so far I've made 3 videos on this subject. They show how my synchronicities started 20 years ago and how they've been getting more intense, more frequent, and more complex. The explanations contained in those videos concentrate on the observational aspects of that phenomena, and I talk in them about the psychedelic meaning of synchronicities. The first video was written more than 2.5 years ago, and things have developed a lot since then. With this upload, I want to tell you about the much deeper and much more complex meaning of synchronicities that led me onto the path of discovering the mechanisms behind the nature of our reality. In fact, all of this got so interesting and complicated that eventually it allowed me to understand how to shape this reality to make it what we want it to be, and I'll talk about this in a follow-up video. In this one, I will show you how synchronicities evolve when you start understanding them. I will look at their probability from the mathematical perspective. I will look at how these equations control our reality and how this knowledge can empower you. It's a series of groundbreaking videos documenting a phenomena that, to my knowledge, so far has never been described by anyone. If the conclusions I'm presenting here are valid, this will have massive implications for anyone trying to understand the truth about earthly reality. If you want to say thank you for the time and energy I put into this research, sponsor me through methods listed on the screen and in the video description. I can only continue doing this if you support this channel. You can also do it by buying 434 merch at shop.b434.com. Thank you for your help. All links in the video description. After uploading those 3 videos on the subject of repeated numbers and events, these synchronicities continue to manifest in my reality. I see 434 every time I get groceries, when I fill up my car, when I go for a walk, or when I get on a plane. I still see cars with 434 license plates parked wherever I go. I see this number in the movies, every time I randomly press the pause button in music and video apps. I see it every time I edit a video and then when I check on it after the upload. Every time I get interested in something, I see it appear somewhere. When I opened the 434 merch shop and created 2 test sales, 434 was there. It was also there in the files when I was designing the graphics. This is not the first time, and those of you who remember the infamous Nirvana video from 2 years ago might recall how I was followed by 434 everywhere I would do my research. My 434 synchronicities are still traveling in time. If you remember from previous videos, when I moved to England, the phone number I was assigned ended in 434. Recently, I discovered that the account number for my first cell phone ever also turns out to have had 434 in it. This video on my hard drive has a working title 434 Synchronicity NL, which stands for Next Level. As I was collecting materials, I found this picture I took half a year ago. And 434 still keeps appearing for other people as soon as they start watching content on this channel. Other types of synchronicities still continue to appear in my life. Some of them are big, some of them are small. My last corporate job was for a company called Sandoz Pharmaceutical, and as soon as I started working there, out of nowhere a picture appeared online of a product called Indocybin. It turned out that while writing my psychedelic videos, I was working for the employer of Albert Hofmann, the first person ever to isolate psilocybin and LSD. The day I finished writing this paragraph, I went to Instagram to learn that this happened on the exact same day, April 16th, 78 years ago. Another very interesting synchronicity happened right after that. As I was looking for information on mathematical nature of our reality, I visited a website someone sent to me, and when I read the article there about algorithms hidden in music, I realized that I'm looking at my screenshot of a drum loop wave called Amen Break, a picture that I uploaded more than 15 years ago to another website. Working on a video about synchronicity out of millions of possible websites, I picked the one that had personal synchronicity in it. The 434 synchronicities in connection with my date of birth and numbers 3 and 8 also continue, and I consider them to be the next level of more complex version of the 434 synchronicity. You might remember from previous videos where I told you about the crash landing of the Emirates flight number 434 on August 3rd. Recently, I learned that it was not the only 434 synchronicity like this. In 1994, a bomb was detonated on board of Philippine Airlines flight number 434. The aircraft's prior landing time was 8:38 a.m., and it is believed it survived the explosion only because it took off with a 38-minute delay. All of these examples, of course, are explained by skeptics as combination of human psychology and laws of probability. And of course, if you were to look at these examples from the mathematical perspective, the odds of seeing a particular 3-digit number are 1 to 900. If we add to it the combination of numbers 3 and 8, we get a result of 1 to 90,000. When I randomly pause a movie at 43 minutes and 40 seconds, from mathematical perspective, we're talking about the chance of 1 to 5,400, which is the number of seconds in 90 minutes. These probabilities are not too high and still can be explained as random. But now I'm going to show you how things recently got really complicated and how all of this completely moved out of the realm of logical or mathematical possibility. You may remember from my previous synchronicity videos how I told you about taking the train every day at 4:34 p.m. when I used to go back home from work from Manchester, where I live. One of the stations I would go through is Davenport. It's close to my house, and recently it occurred to me that the distance between my house and Davenport is about 4.34 kilometers. There's only one road that leads to Davenport, and if you want to get there, you'll realize that the journey has to start from a place next to a house with number 434. As I started discovering all of this, things were getting more and more interesting. You might remember that in the previous synchronicity video I talked about a game called Alien Isolation and how I encounter a lot of 434 synchronicities playing it. I showed you a screenshot of one of the lockers in the game with the number 434, but what I didn't realize back then is that when you look to the right of the locker, on the wall there's a poster, and at the bottom of it there's the word Davenport. Last Christmas, as I was watching my favorite National Lampoon's comedy series about the Griswold family, I noticed that the first part of the movie starts with Clark going to a car dealership and his license plate is 434. Right after that scene, he's talking to a salesman who says the word Davenport, and if you look at the time when this word is said, it is exactly 4 minutes and 34 seconds into the movie. It's not a word that I hear a lot, so next time I heard it in a movie called Cedar Rapids, I immediately looked for more information about it. Guess what I found? Cedar Rapids is a city in the US, and if you want to get from Cedar Rapids to England, the cheapest flight you'll find costs 434 pounds. It turns out that there was a woman in Cedar Rapids that embezzled her employer for $434,000. And then if you look at the map, surprisingly, there's Manchester north of Cedar Rapids. And the distance to get there? 43.4 miles. But if you double the distance and if you go for 86.8 miles east from Cedar Rapids, you end up in a place called Davenport. If you want to calculate the odds of that happening, looking at the combination of the number 434 and the word Davenport, you'll get a result of 1 to 900 million. You simply multiply 1 million distinct words in English language times 900 possibilities of a 3-digit number. The laws of probability say that anything beyond the odds of 1 to 45 million are a mathematical impossibility, which means it can never happen. This clearly and logically indicates that these events are arranged. I discovered a lot of these complicated next-level synchronicities now. Recently, the number of subscribers on the 434 YouTube channel reached 43.4 thousand. There wouldn't have been anything strange about it if it wasn't for the fact that at the same time, the number of 434 Snapchat posts reached 434. My crypto balance related to this account showed £43 and 40 pence. Instagram followers went up to 4,340, and when I went to check this, I was greeted by a notification showing 44 likes and 34 new followers. All these accounts were opened in different months or even different years, and they are not related to each other, but they showed the same numbers on the same day. In order to understand the nature of this phenomena, you need to look closely at the algorithmic nature of our earthly reality. I'm talking here about golden ratio, the phi number, and the Fibonacci sequence. They all represent the proportion of natural objects and man-made systems governed by the number 1.61803. If you were to look closely at everything around you and even you yourself, you would discover that the whole world is based on this number. Mathematics, geometry, plants and living organisms, arts, music, and even financial markets. You can discover this number in earthly radiation and vibrations, in waves and hurricanes. In nature, for example, it would be the bee colony male to female ratio, which is 1 to 1.618. You'll find this divine proportion of our DNA code where both our double helix and single DNA molecule are structured according to this number. Your whole body is actually built based on these proportions. Your face, the length of your arms and legs, even the language you use and its syntax are algorithmic in nature as it is the expression of your DNA code. The phi number in nature allows for the most optimal results, and the same applies to anything humans create. It will work if it's done with the golden ratio built in it. Our reality is based and runs on code. Synchronicities are an expression of this code constantly running in the background. Just look at the seashells, broccoli, sunflowers, trees. They're all fractals proving that our reality is built on mathematical equations. It is really surprising that it's not mainstream science. For some strange reason, we pay attention to those tiny numerical expressions of the code, while at the same time completely ignoring the purely mathematical properties of our surroundings and our existence. Randomness in this reality is very rare and difficult to achieve. Chaos in creation is the domain of humans, but harmony of form is present everywhere in nature, and I don't need to convince anyone that the best quality of life one can achieve only by following this natural, structured law. Also, have you noticed how limited in permutations this reality is? How finite the possibilities are here? It is all permanently stuck to the baseline of this existence, and it takes one psychedelic experience to temporarily look behind the boundaries of this realm to understand how generic our surroundings actually are. It all means that there are simple, constant mathematical rules governing this reality. Synchronicities represent this algorithmic order, and now I'm going to offer you a key to understanding this reality. There's a bridge connecting the mathematical properties of the physical realm and the arithmetical features of the emotional sphere of human existence. Our heartbeat produces a phi relationship in the T wave of the electrocardiogram that represents a state of peace and harmony. The code is present in our body internally, and understanding it is the key to well-being. If you follow your heartbeat's algorithm, you'll understand the principles of love, joy, and hope. There's another confirmation of this in the experiments of Masaru Emoto, in which water treated with love and respect creates well-defined, regular structure in frozen form, indicating a connection between mathematical properties of both the physical and the emotional realm. All synchronicities come from the same place, the energy, and we can be certain that they're all generated. We're slowly discovering the equations governing the creation process of these synchronicities in the emotional sphere in the same way as the phi number governs the mathematical balance and regularity in the physical world. Sooner or later, we will come up with the exact emotional golden ratio formula, but it is possible that we already have something close to it. The 434 Love, Joy and Hope geometrical equation I received in my psychedelic contact is probably the closest to what we could use as a universal metaphysical key to our lives, because these values are present in every religion and in all ancient spiritual teachings. To access and benefit from the positive results of the supernatural nature of this reality, one simply needs to live in accordance with these values. As I was recording these videos, I realized that not once have I received a 434 synchronicity with a negative connotation. Never. In 20 years, I don't remember a single example, which means that this is an expression of the energy based on love, joy, and hope. More on hacking this reality, or rather following the algorithmic principles, in the second part of this video soon, as this subject deserves a video of its own. Once you train yourself in seeing the code, you'll gain powerful abilities. Keep in mind that synchronicity equals synchronization. If you're capable of reading synchronicities, it means that you're aligned with the code behind this reality. It also means you're capable of synchronizing with others who see these code expressions, and in the same way as synchronized footsteps can bring down a bridge, a united force of combined inner frequencies of a collective can become an incredibly powerful tool in impacting reality. Unity of high-frequency individuals creates a powerful synergistic effect. Remember that being able to see and acknowledge synchronicities means that you're not a projected element of this reality. You're observing the code, whereas everybody else is a part of the code. That means your consciousness is the real deal, and it should be an important revelation for you. The synchronicities are the key to a much greater truth, and you cannot be passively waiting for them to appear. You need to engage in acknowledging and learning about this process in everything you do. Synchronicities are a measuring tool for your interaction with the training simulation, and their appearance indicates your level of alignment with your goal in this reality. It is a glimpse into who you are supposed to be here. Because you have impact on the running of this training program, you observing synchronicities means seeing the source code of this program and connecting with it. You decide which part of it you want to interact with, and if you want to deal with your reaction to seeing the source code, that's fine. You can concentrate on this as you're interacting with the energy itself. It's also a form of appreciating and acknowledging the source of all there is. The creator, God, angels, spirits, machine elves, synchronicities, they all stand for divine presence in your life. They are the language of non-earthly communication. It is a signal for you to reprogram yourself to be aligned with the energy and its communication attempts. Synchronicities are the manifestation of energy's world without boundaries. It is to show you that you are only limited by your inner earthly belief system. It is to show you that there is a complex metaphysical mechanism operating this reality that most people deny themselves access to. Since you come from the energy and the energy manifests itself around you in form of your environment and your reality, synchronicities indicate your interaction with this all-creating force, which means that synchronicities signal the moments when you interact with yourself. It's an interaction of your higher self with your earthly self. Synchronicities get more intense as you start observing them because the energy wants to indicate to you that in this earthly reality, you are the source of all there is. Love 434. Thank you for listening. If you learned from this video and you want to say thank you, please sponsor this channel with methods listed on the screen and in the video description. Subscribe and follow. Like and share this video. For merchandise, go to shop.b434.com. Leave your email address at news.b434.com. Visit the website of the artist and the musician I featured here. For more info or contact, visit b434.com and join 434's social media on YouTube, Facebook, BitChute, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and VK. Talk to each other on Reddit, Discord, and Telegram. All links in the video description.